In today's video, I'm going to explain the stories behind my top 10 videos. Even as a very small channel, I've been able to get 2.7 million views, and the videos that have done very well have had hundreds of thousands of views, and it's not always been the videos that you expect. In fact, my top performing videos are often not the best videos I've ever made, and they're often not on subjects that I thought I would ever be talking about. They've often come about by complete accident. So today, in my top 10 best performing videos, I'm going to explain the story behind each one. And at number 1 is a video about plants, and it's about jade plants. And the reason I made this video is because I worked with someone for over 15 years, and they are a very passionate gardener. And one day he was telling me about the jade plant he had at his front door. And I'd never heard that expression, that saying, ever before. And he explained to me that jade plant at the front door, never be poor, is a very old saying. Now, this man I worked with was very hard working and was doing a tremendously successful career for both himself and his family, but he still wanted to make sure that if there was any luck going around, you may as well have some, because why not? Why miss out? So jade at the door, I went out and bought some jade plants that week, went to the nursery and potted them, and while I was doing that, our little pet bunny rabbit was running around my feet. So I was filming this video to make a jade at the door video, and the little bunny actually stole the show, and I put a fun little clip together. Didn't know much of anything about how to video edit, so I put some music to it, upload it on YouTube, and without any promotion of any sort, I've got no social media, this jade at the door video went bananas straight away. 500 views a day, 1,500 views a day. It just went crazy. And of course my channel was mostly about aquarium fish, and this jade plant video became my biggest success. So when you get one video take off, whether you expect it to or not, you start thinking, well, I may as well think how I can make something along the same lines and make another one. So sure enough, I make another jade plant video. This time I tried to make a video that would do well. And this time I had a story. This time the story was that we had our jade plants and they were growing very well. They're an easy to care for plant and we're very happy with them. But we didn't realize our little bunny, who was quite well behaved, very well fed, but rabbits like to chew. So even if they're not looking to eat the plant, they like to chew on things just to keep their teeth in good condition. So we started to chew on the woody stems of our jade plants. And very quickly we ended up where we had to protect these jade plants and all of our pot plants with some wire mesh. So the story with my second jade plant video was what happened when our bunny started to cut off little pieces of these jade plants. And it turns out that these plants will regrow a new plant even from just a leaf. So I show that in this video, and I ended up with a lot of extra plants which I was not planning to have. And once you have all these extra plants in the garden, some in pots here, some in pots there, I actually thought I'll see if I can get these to strike in my aquarium, because aquarium water is very good to grow plants. And sure enough, these jade plants all did exceptionally well, planted on top of my fish tank. So I thought, well, there's a story, so let's make a video about that. So I did, and that video has done exceptionally well, over 300,000 views, as the first one also over 300,000 views. So that the top two videos on my channel are both not about aquariums, but of course the second one does show my aquarium, so it's a start. And after the mystery of the jade plants, why they are my most successful videos, and I think gardening videos are pretty successful, it seems to be anyway. And then we come to the first aquarium video on my aquarium channel, and this video is not a subject I thought would ever be my top video. This is a subject that happened to me by accident, not by design. I got some duckweed with other plants that I purchased, and I got an infestation of duckweed. So I made a video about duckweed, good and bad, and whilst I don't necessarily want to have duckweed in my tanks, sometimes you can't avoid it. And again, it keeps algae under control, and it's tremendous for water quality, so not the worst thing to have. But complete accident, my #1 top aquarium video. Did not expect that. At number 4 of my top 10, I did try to make a video that I did want people to watch, and that was about filtration and how often to wash your filter media, which is a question that a lot of new fish keepers often want to find out. So in this video, I really did want people to see how often I rinse my filter media, and I often recommend to other people the same thing, about every 2 to 3 months to wash out your media. It's one of those things that just being somewhere in the middle is where you should be, not too often and not to forget about it entirely. So at about every 2 to 3 months, rinse your filter media and your aquariums are going to go quite well. And then at number 5 is one more of those complete accidents. So I have always enjoyed having betta fish in a community tank, and I often have some females with a male in my community tanks with lots and lots of live plants. Now, whenever you have males and females of any fish together and they're healthy, there's a very good chance that they often will spawn. In a community aquarium, the chances of that spawn being successful is very low because eggs are going to be found during the night time. A lot of fish swimming around all the time, the parents can't protect their nest, and some of these fighting fish have very small young, so unless you're really going out of your way to make sure that you look after them very well, it's highly unlikely you're going to get a successful spawn, particularly of Siamese fighting fish in a community tank. Now, by some miracle, I had some little baby fry survive out of multiple spawns, and these little fish found their own food amongst all the plants and stayed safe and grew up, and they grew up to be adults. Now, over this long period of weeks and weeks and weeks, it turned out that these miracle fish were males, and I could see that all the time they were growing up there was no hostility towards each other, not from the dominant male towards the new young fish, and the young fish didn't want any trouble either. So as I was watching this day by day by day, I did some filming, did some recording, and this film of betta versus betta was really to try and show people that these are not the vicious, mean, fighting creatures that are often out on the internet. And of course, the reason why male Siamese fighting fish fight in actual fights is they're in a little tiny bowl where the fights are taking place. They have to be placed literally right on top of each other in order for these fights to happen. Once you give these fish space, and particularly males, a dominant male asserts his authority, but he just wants the other male to go away. So as soon as they do go away and there is space, there is no fighting. So these are a very misunderstood fish. And I thought this video would be very helpful to get that misconception taken care of. And then at number 6 is another complete accident. So this video is about goldfish and discus, and it came about because I was watching videos on YouTube on aquarium advice, and some advice being very good and some advice being very bad. And I had an example I knew of where this would initially look like it was bad, but it's not necessarily bad at all if you understand the reasoning and thinking behind it. So this was a very interesting video to bring information to people who hadn't thought about this a certain way, and that is that goldfish are a very adaptable fish that live in a huge range of temperatures, and in the tropical countries of the world they live in very hot water, and of course they can live in very cold water as well, but they're adaptable. Now, very few people would ever imagine having a goldfish in with discus, but in this video, Professor MacLeod, who I knew from working with previously in the 80s in an aquarium importing business, in this video Mac explains particular reasons why having a double-tailed fantail goldfish living in the same tank as a group of discus can be very beneficial to the discus. And of course the goldfish lives in a very clean tank and he's very well fed, so it's a win-win situation. So this is a video that just sort of happened. And then at number 7 in my top 10 videos, we then have another complete accident. Something I never expected to make a video about until it happened to me and you make a video about it. So in this video I had a little mini aquarium I wanted to grow carpeting plants in. That was the main purpose of this small tank, and I happened to put some shrimp in there as well. It seems that shrimp tanks do tend to suffer from Planaria worms, whereas in a fish tank I'd never seen Planaria worms ever before, because fish tend to nibble them up and you just don't see them. But in this shrimp tank full of plants, I ended up seeing a lot of Planaria worms, and it was pretty freaky. So I again went to the internet, found out a simple trap of how to catch Planaria worms from someone else's video, which is in the description in the link below. And this video on catching Planaria worms is a much safer way to remove them than by just putting in some kind of a chemical to poison them, where of course they would then just die and rot in the tank, which is not going to be good for anyone. So this video on Planaria worms has been very successful because a lot of people have this problem with worms appearing in their tanks, and I was very pleased to find out how to fix it and how to remove and reduce the number of these worms, and the video I made on doing it has been very successful. So I would never have made this video unless this problem didn't happen to me as well. And thankfully, as you run into problems, it's now these days very easy to go online and find answers. And the good thing about these problems with our aquariums, they don't always require spending large amounts of money. They don't always require putting another chemical in your tank. So with these Planaria worms, it was nice to find a very simple, easy, non-toxic way to remove this problem. So that's that video. And at number 8 was a video I wanted to make about a fantastic plant I've always enjoyed keeping, which is commonly known as ambulia and available right around the world. This plant is one of the easiest plants to grow, looks fantastic, and when I had no idea how to make a video and the camera was shaking and my free Windows Movie Maker editing software I had no idea how to use, this video at the very early stages of my channel is still quite popular. So I'm pretty pleased that this really great plant has got a video that a lot of people have watched. And at number 9 is another video I wanted to make, and this one is about 2 of the best algae eaters you could possibly have in a peaceful community aquarium, and one with plants. This is an old video, so again lots of camera shaking, lots of could not get a clear image, and it's not my best video, but the information about these 2 being great fish is still good information. So Siamese algae eaters and cistrus, bristlenose catfish, definitely 2 of the best algae eaters you could have in an aquarium, a general purpose aquarium where fish are not too big and not too aggressive, and 2 fish I always enjoy having, always in my tanks. And finally, in my top 10 performing videos on my channel is another complete accident. And this time I was trying to grow some carpeting plants, and I had to get a little mini tank that was quite shallow in order to try and grow some carpeting plants without using pressurized CO2. And in this little mini tank I tried a few different plants first. They did okay, then over the months they didn't do well at all. So that was a tank not doing very well, and then I discovered that something was happening in the tank with a completely strange plant I had never purchased. Some dwarf hairgrass had gotten in with those plants that I'd bought, and this dwarf hairgrass, without any CO2 in this little tank, was actually propagating and throwing out runners and spreading. So I was really very happy to be able to make a video showing that perhaps the very best plant to have in a non-CO2 tank to carpet the bottom is in fact dwarf hairgrass. So this tank gave me a lot of joy over a lot of months, as the dwarf hairgrass did grow quite well. But then nothing goes to plan, and the Christmas moss in the same tank ends up doing even better and covering over the top of the hairgrass. So you never know which plants are going to outcompete the others. So that is a list of my top 10 videos on my channel, the vast majority of which are complete accidents, and I had no idea that they would do as well as they have, and you never know which ones will do well on your channel either. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting, and you never know what is going to do well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.